That was a struggle for traction, guys. Alright guys, so this video is taking a turn. I did not paint the other night, unfortunately. I couldn't get my hands on any adhesion promoter, but I will have some soon. But on the other hand, I did, you know, take the car out of the garage just now, and there's a lot of things that have been bugging me about the car that I really want to get straightened out. One of which, let's see, is the idle. This thing idles way too high. Idles at like 1500, so it doesn't really, I think it would sound way cooler if it idled down. It definitely sounds insane. It's definitely loud as hell, just like screaming at 1500, but that's not really where I want it to idle. So hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad. I'm trying to put my back to the wind for you. But yeah, so basically I would like to bring the idle down, and I set the idle with the idle stop there. So I'm gonna go ahead on the throttle body, and right after I finish my coffee here, I'm gonna go ahead right on the throttle body. You can see right, where am I looking? Right on under that section right here, there's a little screw, and I'll show you guys where it is, and then I'm gonna adjust that, and that should fix my high idle. And I'll just, you know, it adjusts the throttle blade when you're just sitting there with no foot on the pedal. So basically, if the throttle blade, you just crack it a little bit, it'll let a little bit of air in, and that'll bring your idle up just a little bit. So that's a good way to set it if you guys have like an idle issue. Me personally, I'm gonna completely turn everything else off, like, you know, the idle air control valve and all that stuff. I really would like to get rid of as much of that as I can, because that stuff is all just a pain. Right now I still have the idle air control valve hooked up. Something else I've been meaning to do is an EGR delete, which I have the kit for, and now that I've taken it through emissions, I can do the EGR delete. So I think that's something that I'm gonna do. So I just got to remove there and put my block off plate on, and then block off some of these vacuum lines here, and then should be good to go. Actually, I have a vacuum line running to nothing right now. I think it just like goes down into nothing. That's pretty interesting. I guess, where does that run off of? Is that my, it looks like my fuel pressure regulator. So my fuel pressure regulator is not running off of, wow, that's actually pretty interesting. Okay, I may have to figure that out. That definitely needs to get hooked up, so I'm not sure why it's not. So that's something I need to fix. We're gonna check that one out, because that's gonna change things. I don't know if I'm having a fuel pressure drop or not, but yeah, I guess I would be if that line is blown off. Maybe I blew it off. I don't see where it was even on. It's almost like it was never hooked up. So I'm not really sure about that. Gotta check that out. Not so hot. Also, let's see. Pretty shocked about that one. But also, some things in the tune. So when it first starts up, it's kind of rich. So that's something that I kind of wanted to fix. And my data logging capabilities. So I think I'm going to take today to try to diag all these issues and figure out exactly what's wrong with it, and, you know, at least make a plan to fix these things if I don't end up fixing it today. But yeah, we're gonna set the idle first, and I'm gonna figure out what to do with that vacuum hose there. I'm gonna hook that guy up, and I don't think that it would be a source of a vacuum leak. I just think that I'm gonna have an improperly working fuel pressure regulator, so that's kind of not good. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna hook that guy up, see how that works. So the Allen is this size. I know it's probably not very helpful, because I can't tell you what size it is, but I just found this in my drawer. So this is what fits it, this size right here, and a 7mm wrench is what fits the jam nut. So I just went ahead and loosened the jam nut, and I'll see if I can get you guys a closer look down in here. What I'm talking about right here, that is where I'll point with this. That's that nut that I'm talking about right there, and underneath it is right here where the Allen goes inside of this threaded piece right here. So what we're going to do is probably back that out a little bit, which is going to close the throttle blade a little bit at idle. So that's what we're going to mess with. I'm going to go ahead and start it up and let it warm up, and then we're going to try to set this idle with this thing here. With that line hooked up now that I have the fuel pressure regulator hooked up, I think essentially what I was doing was when the fuel pressure regulator sees the absence of vacuum, that's when it's boosting your rail pressure. So essentially I was boosting the rail pressure at all times. So I'm not sure how much it will change the tune, but it probably might change the tune. The tune might be kind of lean. So I don't know. I have the laptop charging in the other room over there. I was going to make some adjustments over there. But yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I'll just fire it up and I'll see where it's at. And try to adjust the idle. As long as the air fuels are looking decent, I'll try to adjust the idle and see where it sits at. But yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting. To not have that hooked up means it always had tons of line pressure, and that would make sense as to why it was super rich at idle and has a tough time idling. That would make sense. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know how long that has been like that, but it's definitely been a while. Idling down now, it sounds a little better. That's probably like 1200. That's probably closer to 1100. I want to see how low we can get it to idle comfortably. I would like it to idle, you know, a little bit low. Gotta come up a little bit. I think that's a good spot right there. So I'm gonna try to get this other wrench in here, tighten it. All right, I'm pretty happy with that idle right there. We're sitting right around 1,000. It's a lot tamer. The exhaust note, you know, the exhaust is not nearly as rowdy. It sounds nice and choppy now instead of like, whoa, you know? Sounds a lot better. We still got to make a nice tip for this thing, but that'll come soon. Anyway, come in here, you can see idling right at 1,000 RPMs. Comes right down, right back to 1,000. So nice. So that's sweet. I'm happy about that. Air fuels are still a little bit rich, so you know, looks like it didn't change the tune that much. Honestly, it's almost warmed up. So looks like we solved that problem. I'm glad the idle's down to a normal level now. 1,000 RPMs is a lot closer to where I wanted it. So now I'm going to look up the schematics for the data logging and see if we can get data logging to work, because I really would like to show you guys data logging on Honda Tuning Suite. Alright guys, so you can hear the car is running right now, and it's actually running on the latest version of Honda Tuning Suite, version 2. So I was on like 1.18 before. It was super old and it was very glitchy, but now that I upgraded and I plugged in my data logging and the correct orientation, it should be pin 1 on the ECU, has to have the yellow or orange wire on that side. We're data logging, guys, so check this out. Hopefully you can see the screen well enough, but O2 voltage isn't quite reading correctly. I'm gonna have to do some offset and figure that out. Yeah, our tracing's working, so you can see that our cell tracing is working really good. So yeah, that's dope. I'm pumped. So now we should be able to modify whatever cells were in here. So if we want to say decrease the selection by a couple of times, and then we hit upload base ROM, the wideband should reflect that. Okay, so I figured it out. Now that I actually have data logging working, all these things are working, like idle settings. When I set the target idle here, I can actually set this for what I want the motor to idle at, and it will idle at that. If I hit upload, I hit 900, this thing will try to achieve a 900, you know, so that's pretty cool. It wasn't doing that before because it had no input, so that's pretty sweet. And I gave it a little bit of idle air control valve duty just because it was choking a little bit. Maybe we'll give it 20. Upload that. Seems like that helps a little bit, because I really will bring this down. We're bringing the target down to 800 because it seems like it's fighting itself, and that's like the issue here. But it seems okay. I realize now the TPS sensor. So now we can actually do it. It says engine running. I think it's going to want the engine to be off, so we'll turn it off. And we'll key it up again. And this guy says next. So set TPS at 100. So we will set it at 100. That's all the way floored. Next. So 0. And then there's 100. So now we have it correctly set. So now we are all set there. So now our TPS sensor, TPS at 0 is 0.57 and TPS at 100% is 4.67 volts. So sorry if I'm not aiming it correctly and you guys can't see, but you get the idea. That's where I'm at. So we did that. So now we can upload that calibration. Now we see our TPS voltage is 0%. So I don't know if that's going to change much, but it's just good to have all this stuff all mapped out, you know, and just have it all correct. So I think this is going to be how the car is going to be set up for a while, so I'll be happy to have everything correct. Alright guys, so I'll put the window up here so you can hear me hopefully. And yeah, we'll still end up having a little bit of wind noise, but you know, at least hopefully you can hear me. I know the exhaust is super loud in this thing. The car is driving really well. You know, the things that I did with the tune seem to be working out really good. The wideband isn't reading correctly in the data logging abilities here, unfortunately. The cell tracing is working good though. It seems to trace wherever I go in the map. Everything seems to be pretty rich right now. So I'm going to end up pulling a lot of fuel out of this thing under high load. But I don't know, hopefully I can get the tune semi-ironed out on this little trip here and do a couple of pulls for you guys. That is the goal. They don't look too bad. Just under light boost. We got maybe 5 psi there. No crazy amounts of boost, but it seemed like everything held up. Air fuel wise, it's looking decent. 11.5s, which I like to see. Yeah, I'd like to run an 11.5 all the way up, maybe into the higher RPMs, and once we're making some more boost, we can do like an 11 just to keep it super safe. But I think for the most part, the 11.5 is a good air fuel ratio to run. And I know a lot of you guys were asking me about my timing, so I did make a timing adjustment, which I've never done before. So I've never touched timing. So what I did was I went in and anything around 6 pounds, I did 16 degrees, and anything above that, I did 18. I know you're thinking, oh, why go less into more? But I wanted to hit the max timing when it gets into full boost, and then ride it all the way down. Maybe I should run 18 at 6 pounds as well. But you know, I don't really care about that. Usually, if you're ripping it, you blow past that anyway. And I don't want to run a lot of timing in partial boost situations, because you know, you're just doing that for the boost turbo noises. But if I'm not racing, or if I'm not, you know, trying to go all out, I feel no reason to run a ton of timing. And timing is likely to blow you up down low. So we want to keep that timing out down low when the boost is first coming in. I don't really want to have a lot of timing in it, and that's my reasoning for that. You know, maybe you guys agree, maybe you don't, but that's what I think. Let's see if we can rip a little bit here. So fat, 9 something the whole time. We could pull a lot of fuel out here. Upload that. Try another rip. Woo! Hey guys, I think we ripped it. We did pretty good. We could pull out a few percent, but I took that sick. I'm pretty pumped about that. That was a struggle for traction, guys. Not really sure if those guys were filming me because they liked it or if they wanted to get me, so I'm gonna definitely go home now. These guys seem like they had some cameras, so yeah, I think I'm gonna have to abandon my regular route, but hopefully that's enough for you guys. It's definitely enough for me. Alrighty guys, so that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed some little street rips and you know, some other basic stuff, but I'm gonna cap it off, probably go edit this thing right now for you guys. But yeah, thanks for watching everybody, and you know, keep on supporting. Peace.